Hello, everyone. In this video, we're going to cover the different principles of universal design and how each of them can be specifically applied to kitchens and baths. The Center for Universal Design has created a framework of the 7 principles of universal design. We're going to take a look at each one of them. What is it and how can we use it? Let's start with principle number 1, equitable use. Our design should be useful to and therefore marketable to people with diverse abilities. It needs to be appealing to all users, and this is very important, it needs to provide the same means of use for all users. Identical when it's possible, right? But equivalent when that's not possible. And so part of the equitable use principle is to avoid segregating or stigmatizing any users. Here we have an example of equitable use in a kitchen. Uh, when you select a side-by-side refrigerator with a bottom freezer, all right, some of each type of storage, okay, cold, colder, is within everyone's reach. So some examples of equitable use in kitchen and bath include rocker light switches, motion sensor lighting, motion sensor ventilation, motion sensor faucets, a side-by-side or drawer-style refrigerator. We just saw that in the last slide. A guest bathroom that's visitable or accessible or on the ground floor, right? Lavatory faucets that are center mounted and not off to the side, right? Grab bars for equitable use. Tall storage, again, storage at different heights, and an automatically opening toilet. Our second principle of universal design is flexibility in use. And we'd like our design to accommodate the wide ranges of individual preferences and individual abilities. Therefore, we need to provide choice in how people use our space. You need to accommodate right or left-handed access, and that's not just for preference for people who are right and left-handed, although that's important too. It's for some people who are unable to use one or the other, right? We need to facilitate our user and how accurate they're able to use our space. And an interesting thing about flexibility in use is that we need to accommodate our users' pace. Some people aren't able to use the kitchen and bathroom as quickly as others. All right, so flexibility has to do with speed also. So here's some examples of how to provide flexibility in use for kitchens and bathrooms. And the first one is knee spaces, specifically knee spaces that can be closed with doors, like cabinet doors. All right, you can open them if you want to, or you can close them if not needed. Storage options that allow for different heights, seated or standing use. 48-inch work aisles, so nice wide work aisles so that people can approach from different directions. Maybe they need to come from one direction or the other, use their right side of their body or their left. Multiple counter heights, again for seated, standing access or different postures. Movable storage. Maybe you need to pull some storage over to where you are currently working. A removable or a built-in tub seat or shower seat, as in the example here, is important for flexibility. All right, someone can use the tub or shower from many different postures and positions. And finally, bars in different positions, vertical, horizontal, angled, or there are some grab bars that can be folded up and down out of the way. Our next universal design principle is called simple and intuitive use. Our kitchen or bath design should be easy to understand regardless of the user's experience, of their knowledge, of their language skills, or their current concentration level. All right, maybe they're not able to concentrate right now. Maybe it's the middle of the night and they just woke up. Maybe they are a new parent and they've been awake for 3 days straight. Um, there are many reasons why your user would need a simple and intuitive design. So you should eliminate any unnecessary complexity. And your design should be consistent with user expectations and intuition. Right? This principle accommodates a wide range of literacy and language skills. Right? Not everyone has high language skills, so labeling your design is not always follow the simple and intuitive use principle. Finally, you need to provide prompting and feedback during and after your task completion. So, what are some examples of simple and intuitive use for kitchens and bathrooms? One of them is the single lever faucet that goes left for hot and right for cold, or red for hot, blue for cold. Those are simple and intuitive. Also, you could have one-step controls on your microwaves for some pre-programmed, recipes. Now, I think universal design principle number 4, perceptible information design, has a whole lot to do with the simple and intuitive use. I think they go in hand. All right. So for this principle, your design should effectively communicate all necessary information regardless of your user's abilities. So you can have different modes for your essential information: pictorial, verbal, tactile, different ways to communicate. With this principle, you need to provide contrast, between the essential information and the surroundings. Therefore, you maximize the legibility or understandability or noticeability of information. And you also need to be compatible with different techniques and devices used by people with specific sensory limitations, people with low vision or low sense of touch. All right, there's some people who can't sense hot and cold, for example. So what are some examples of perceptible information design in kitchen and bath? The first one is open or visible storage, something where you can see what's on the shelf. All right, the information is right there. When you're looking for a particular object, you can scan and find it. Digital temperature control, or something that makes a sound and or blinks when the temperature is reached. Lighting controls that light up and glow when the lights are off. Right? That gives us some perceptible information of where those lighting controls are. Smoke detectors that have sound, have audible alarms, and light alarms. They blink. Finally, cooking controls that use both numbers and pictures and other ways to indicate the cooking mode or the cooking process. Here's an example. We've got a faucet that displays the water temperature through the LED lighting, right? And this expresses both simple and intuitive use, perceptual information, and tolerance for error. All right, if somebody accidentally sets the temperature wrong, it's easy to tell before they burn themselves. We're going to pause here about halfway through our discussion of the 7 principles of universal design. When we come back, we'll continue.